Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another yearly video of favorite fictional couples. This being a yearly thing where I talk about my favorite fictional couples. It's never in any particular order. It's just some couples I come across in fiction that I really like and want to talk about. First, I want to talk about Taeung and Gabin, these being the main male and female protagonists of this webtoon manhwa called She's Hopeless. It's a really interesting kind of love story that's complicated because Taeung was hired to kind of be Gabin's bodyguard, but Gabin is meant to not know that that's what Taeung's purpose is. So he's trying to get close to her to protect her without her knowing. And so the only way he can end up doing that, with circumstances being what they are, is he confesses, like, I'm trying to get close to you because I like you and have feelings for you, which is not true because Taeung's got his own complicated circumstances that have led him to taking this job. So it is a thing of he's coming into this not with the best of intentions, like, hey, I'm just doing this job, and he's kind of stringing her along because Gabin's got her own issues because she has a lot of trust issues, and you'll learn more about that about the story. But a lot of these complicated things play into their story because Gabin has turned is very hurt by a lot of stuff that happened in her life, and she's very hated by a lot of people because it's her way of kind of lashing out because of her circumstances, and she also deals with a lot of that inwardly, and so she just kind of cut herself off from a lot of people. But this whole situation with Taeung kind of makes her open up a little bit more and kind of adds a little more of a bright spot to her life. So it is this thing that it started off as a lie, but as the series progresses, obviously you learn, things start changing for both of them, their perspectives on things, and it just kind of gets them questioning a lot of stuff. It's a really beautiful story. I've also talked about it in the past. It is very sad in a lot of, there's some very depressing elements to this story, but there is kind of this sweet love story that brews that, a lie started here and how that all falls out and the developments and just how it all plays out. I just think they make a cute couple. It is that situation of lies and adversity get in their way. It's a little Romeo and Juliet-esque, not as extreme, but there are certain parallels you could make in a lot of regards. But it's just I think it's a really beautiful story, and I love where their story goes. No spoilers, about it, but it doesn't fully go the way you think it does, but you probably have an idea how it ends. But the journey there is what kind of it's obviously the antithesis in the entire story. So I just think they make a cute young couple where you're just kind of you're kind of cheering for them. You want it to work out, even though this is all predicated on a lie and manipulation in a lot of ways. So it's kind of effed up in its own capacity, but like I said, there is an underlying sweetness because, once again, both Taeung has his reasons for doing what he's doing, but also Gabin, being kind of as self-destructive and outwardly destructive as she is, she has her reasons too. So it's just understanding these characters and them understanding each other. And staying on the manhwa webtoon front, the next couple I want to talk about is Jaegu and Ingui. I'm probably mispronouncing her name. It might be Ingui. I usually just call her Queen. They're two of the protagonists from the manhwa webtoon series Girls of the Wild, but I also want to talk about their live-action counterparts in the adaptation Sweet Combat, that being Ming, Tian, and Fang, respectively. So obviously, Jaegu goes to a school of all girls. He's the only boy there, and he has issues with women because his mom abandoning him having to be stuck raising his two siblings, working just to make ends meet. Then he meets Queen, who's kind of misunderstandings between him and Queen leading them not liking each other, which to me is kind of a recipe for enemies to lovers type of story. And it doesn't take too long before they actually become friends, but then things start developing between them. It kind of very much like the previous example I use, it is a thing of them spending time with each other and understanding each other more allows them to start growing, not only individually, but also, learning more about themselves, but also about each other, and growing closer as they both struggle to figure out how they're feeling. It's another young love story, and it goes away. I know I've talked about this, I think, in other places, but I know some people don't like this pairing. Some people wish that Jaegu ended up with another character. If you've read Girls of the Wild, you know who I'm talking about. But I know other people wanted him to hook up with that person. I always wanted him to be with Queen, and spoilers, they end up together. But so that's just talking about the webtoon front, and I like that obviously in this the live action adaptation being Sweet Combat, they stay true to that. Obviously there are changes to it, but a big change that I think is interesting, and it's kind of a slight spoiler, is you actually get to spend more time with the characters as a couple. So Jaegu and Ingui, like, really, spoilers, only end up as a couple finally fully get together, like the last chapter of the series, whereas Ming, Tian, and Fang, once again their live action counterparts, actually takes a little while into the series, but they do actually date. You actually get to spend a couple episodes with them as a couple as they're figuring things out, because most of the webtoon is will they, won't they, and then the live action TV show is will they, won't they, but then they get together. But the TV show has some upheavals and complications that throw a wrinkle in their relationship. But I think it's really sweet, and it's just like, once again, it's about overcoming, you know, trauma that they both respectively have in these circumstances that are pulling them apart, you know, and finding a way through that adversity, you know. So it's really interesting. Like I said, it's similar, but also like the live action takes a different approach, especially with Jaegu's approach to the relationship. Like it's quite different than how Tian approaches his feelings for Fang. So it's just really interesting, and I think they just, on both fronts, I think they make very cute couples just because of who Queen is. She's a very cute person, but she has a very like stoic outward like thing of like only her best friend, that being Moonyoung in the webtoon or Yanan in the live action adaptation, see who she really is, that she's just not very good at wearing her heart on her sleeve type of thing. She's, you know, she has reasons why she kind of has a very cold exterior, just not really good at telling people how she feels. Next up is Hank and Cristobal from the TV show Barry. A very unconventional couple in the regards of, hey, these were two people from opposite mob/gangs that were trying to run kind of the drug game in LA, and they started on opposite sides. Circumstances later on put them together. They're just kind of like this odd couple, but not in a more traditional sense. It's just like they're both kind of sweet oddballs. They just happen to be these oddball criminals, and it's just, there's a real love and connection between these characters. Very much they have their upheavals. You know, some Cristobal secrets come to cause some massive complications between him and Hank, but it's like a genuine like love that they have for each other. They want to build an empire together. Like, obviously it was pretty clear Hank has had a thing for Cristobal for a while. He's just like, oh my god, Cristobal's so amazing, he's so great. Obviously the whole Esther situation, trying to get rid of Esther because he was jealous and he just wanted time with Cristobal. And it's like, oh, you could, you know, oh my god, with Esther out of the way, business can be 50-50 between me and Cristobal. Barry's like, well, you could just kill Cristobal, take the whole thing. It's like 50-50 with Cristobal, because that's all he cared about. It's actually really sweet, and they make such a cute couple, and just, you know, once again, it's just like finding love in that criminal world, finding kind of their person. Obviously, if you've seen the entirety of Barry, you know where that storyline goes, and you know it's not the happily ever after anyone would want it to be. So that's kind of like the little asterisk beside it. But for what we get of the couple, because they started dating officially in season 3, you know, and they're like full couple and everything in season 4, but season 3 is when they really started dating. Season 2 is like, you know, not to the end is when they kind of like, ooh, there's something here. So I think it's such a beautiful pairing, and they're just so good together and so fun together, and it's just a really adorable couple. And just like, you know, it's kind of interesting putting that in the confines of, oh, but these are these gang leaders or these mob leaders in this relationship. But it's also like, well, that's also the nature of what Barry is, being the dark comedy drama that it is. Next up on the list is Kite Man and Golden Glider, specifically from Kite Man Hell Yeah, but obviously we got introduced to the couple in the 3rd season of Harley Quinn, is when they started dating, when they're at the Villies, I think it was revealed. I think they're such a cute couple. Obviously Kite Man is such a big time idiot, but Golden Glider like moves all past that, because she recognizes like, oh man, Chuck is such a sweet guy, he's so sweet and awesome. And yeah, she has her issues, because she definitely has a effed up family circumstance, as we know, with her mom and dad, and what that ended up being, as we got revealed in Kite Man Hell Yeah. But they are a couple that kind of like are there for each other, and they're just like down for each other. And it's just like, once again, where it's like so many people like kick Kite Man's backing. I mean, because he's kind of the jokey character. That's kind of like the whole purpose and the whole gag. But it's still the thing of like how sincere like they are as a couple. There is something like honest and cute and sweet about them. You know, it's just like Kite Man wanted to do so much for her, feeling like inadequate. Like, you know, he's like, oh, she's amazing, and I wish I was good enough for her, but feeling lesser than. But for her being the one person that's like, people kick, like I said, kick Kite Man's back, but she's like, no, you don't talk about Chuck. Chuck's amazing. Like, his biggest weapon and the greatest thing about him is how big his heart is. Like, he's, you know, they're villain. I mean, Golden Glider, we never really see her be villainous, but I mean, they are villains, you know, for the most part. They're just kind of, once again, like goofy villains in a lot of ways, but they're just such a cute couple where it's just like, oh, they complete each other. You know, they balance each other out. Like, his stupidity and stuff and kind of her wild and craziness mixed with him. Because obviously we explore Golden Glider a lot more as a character, because we only got her one episode in Harley Quinn, but obviously this entire show is them as a couple running a bar and trying to make ends meet, and you know, yeah, it's just a lot. It's just, they're just really cute together. I just like, I you know, hopefully we get, you know, a chance to explore this couple and their circumstances even more in the future. And the final couple I have on my list for this episode is Taiyo and Mutsumi from the series Mission Yozakura Family. I should also note, I've never read the manga. I've only watched the anime, which the first season is done, but there is going to be a second season, so there's more story to tell. So I don't fully know where Taiyo and Mutsumi's story can go. I have an idea where it goes, because they're pretty much in game, because it's like from the first episode, you know, circumstances led to them kind of basically having an arranged marriage. It was the only way to keep Taiyo safe, but also like Mutsumi means a lot to Taiyo, a person who's lost his entire family, his mom, his dad, and his little brother. Mutsumi was the person that kind of brought him back from the darkness. She was like the only like shining light in his life, because they had been friends for a little while before. I mean, they knew each other since childhood, but they became friends in like, I think, middle school. And she had always kind of been that person for him. But post losing his family, Mutsumi was the only person Taiyo really interacted with. He kind of blocked out the rest of the world except for Mutsumi, because she was the one person that, despite him pushing away, she stayed by his side. And, you know, it's just, that means the world to him. And then obviously Taiyo got all the craziness that is Mutsumi's family, the Yosakuras. You know, there was some very, very wild and crazy siblings who are now his, and so that's kind of like the package deal of like, it's beautiful because he also gets this second family who means the world to him, but also like little quirks that Mutsumi has. Like, you find out like she's not a really good singer, and she never wanted Taiyo to learn that about her, so she kind of hid that away until an episode. There's a thing that happens where she kind of has to sing, and you kind of find out, and you know, so I think that's really sweet. And also, like, she has moments where she's just like, oh, like, she's so down on herself, like, she, like, without getting into it, there's a thing that gets revealed about Taiyo's family, and she kind of like, oh, I guess I'm at fault. You see her streaming tears down her face. I guess I'll just leave. I don't deserve to be with Taiyo. Like, she's so sweet, and Taiyo has to constantly remind her that he loves her, and she has to constantly remind him, I'm here by your side, even when we're like, we're always going to be connected. I'm always going to be by your side. And it's just, they're very ride or die for each other, and it's just so sweet. Once again, another young love situation, or just a young couple, you know, in the anime, in, you know, manga, shonen fashion, but it's just, they're just like so cute. And once again, I've never read the manga, so I don't know how that progresses. It'll always be something I revisit in the future when I become even more familiar. But just from the little I got, not the little, but the good chunk we've gotten from season 1, I just think they're a really cute couple, and I'm excited to see where their story continues in the story. But yeah, I've run my mouth off enough. This was my list of favorite fictional couples. Let me know, did anyone on this list end up being part of your favorite fictional couples? Like, are you familiar with any of the couples I brought up this video? Are you unfamiliar with them? Has it made you decide like, oh, I've never heard of that series, let me check it out and see whether I agree with them being a good fictional couple or not. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good